Did you know that working in the video game industry is kind of like cosmic horror? You see, there comes a moment in many creatives' lives where they're faced with this realization of yawning terror as they see for the first time the heartless, cold, devouring maw of reality. In that moment, you have to make a choice. Do you join the ranks of the doomed and run screaming into the night? Do you join the cultists, laboring to feed the monster? Or do you look that madness in the eye, unblinking? If you do, and you make it out the other side with your sanity intact, well, you can carry on underneath its burning gaze in screaming defiance, hoping to cling to the last little shard of the feeble light of your passions as systems far older and bigger than you attempt to devour it at every turn. So let's talk about Markiplier's film Iron Lung, because I think it's actually a good example of this, and not just because it's a lovingly crafted embodiment of everything important to the genre of cosmic horror and the game it's based on. It's also kind of an incredible embodiment of the very themes it represents through the story of its making. Let's talk about it by turning it into a book. Am I mixing a crafting tutorial and a video essay? Yeah, I think I am. Am I supposed to? I don't really care. I want to. It sounds fun. I'm Sayer, and this is Witch Cove Crafts. Right, so we're going to turn Iron Lung into a book-nook book because cosmic horror has its origins in books. And those books would be none other than the loosely related collection of short stories and novels known as the Cthulhu mythos, courtesy of H.P. Lovecraft. You see, cosmic horror is, at its core, an exploration of the fear of the other, the unknown, the unknowable. Though, before you say, wait, so was Lovecraft racist? Let me tell you, this man wasn't just racist. He was famously so racist that he came out the other end of racism into the uncontrolled fear of truly everything and everyone he didn't have firsthand experience of. I mean, like actually everyone and everything. Black people? Yeah. Poor people? Oh, scary. Welsh people? Oh, horror. The man had issues. But if you're afraid of everything, it's a lot easier to transfer that fear onto other people as a convenient coping mechanism than it is to ask, why? Why am I afraid? Lovecraft was basically the guy in his own stories who looks up to find a reality bigger and more complicated than he's prepared to accept, and then loses it. And look, the guy was traumatized, there's no denying that. Unfortunately, he coped with that trauma by throwing himself into rampant bigotry, but also into writing. And in the decades since, his work has grown and evolved into an entire genre we call cosmic horror. Of course, that only scratches the surface, but it's at least enough for us to move forward. First, the build. We're going to use this book-nook blank for the frame, and some common techniques we've covered before, plus a few new ones. I went wild with the 3D printed clear bits on this one. Want to see how to make 3D printed LED waveguides? How about an eye? And I'll call out those as we go. For everything else, check out the other videos on the channel. Small side note here, this was a terrible, terrible idea. My two main mistakes were using this cute book-nook blank for the shell. It did not seal easily, and relying on one layer of styrene to make a chamber for my electronics. Ditto. Remember this moment, it will come back to haunt me. So look, setting the poetic opening aside for a sec, a moment of sudden horrified awareness about the true nature of the world. It isn't actually unique to creatives. We all live adjacent to horror unimaginable, systems uncaring in their unyielding scale, designed to benefit the few, to chew up and devour those that feed it, like so much slop between its slavering teeth. Maybe if you're lucky, it only gnaws quietly on your ankles and you think, this is okay, and you continue on while ignoring it. But most of us are born being aware of those systems and their razor teeth to varying degrees. And we only grow more aware as we go through life. Sometimes we get a sudden and rude awakening when the horror demands to be addressed and will be ignored no longer. And we get to see how we handle it as a society, which, honestly, mostly we don't, it would seem. Some of us live closer to the teeth than others. Though, and it does need to be said, living closer to the teeth doesn't make you automatically better at seeing or standing in opposition to them. But it does give you an awful lot of opportunities to try. I should know, I'm intersex, Mosaic Chimera Gang Unite, and trans. Oh, intersex and genetically unlucky, what a combo. I'll spare you the advanced biology and genetics lecture, but in short, being intersex in this way means having 2 sets of DNA fused in your body, like siblings shoved into the back of a van on a 3-day road trip. And no, having 2 sets of DNA fused in your body does not give you superpowers. Dragon Ball lied to us all. Turns out hormones were the real blood of the Eldritch Gods all along.
What?
Speaking of Eldritch beings, we're gonna need a little fish friend to be checking in on our sub as it journeys through the seas of blood. I'm gonna borrow the official movie tie-in popcorn bucket for this. It actually should be just perfect. Thanks for sharing it, Mark. Though we'll make just a few tweaks to suit the composition better, and we'll split the eye out as its own mesh and enlarge it for reasons you'll see in a minute. So, back to the themes in cosmic horror. Fundamentally, the genre is about that veil over the true nature of reality, and the people on the other side of that veil. On one side, we have the oblivious. We all start there. On the other, the side where people have seen what lies beyond the veil, we have the real players in the story. The defiant, the doomed, and the cultist. The one who sees the teeth and then says, "Ah, yes, please." And if this genre is about anything at all, it's about what you do after you move past the veil. When you see what's beyond, which role you become. Because you can't go back. You will choose one way or another. And that choice, that moment, that's Iron Lung. If you're not familiar with Iron Lung, it was originally a short horror game made by David Symanski back in... I don't remember. Markiplier played it back in... You also need to look that up, and pretty immediately fell in love with it. It follows a world in the future where humans have spread among the stars. But one day the stars and planets disappear and only a few people are left on moon bases, space stations, now adrift in space. An ocean of blood appears on a moon, and desperate for answers, the remaining humans begin sending convicts down in makeshift subs to explore the gory depths. Look, it's a brilliant setting, executed with a very tightly controlled scope. Though, I'm not gonna lie, the ending is a little bit of a cheap jump scare. And full credit to David for creating such a striking concept and bringing it to life. Also, if you haven't played his other game, Squirrel Stapler, you should. But Mark, well, he looked at the game and decided it needed to be a movie. Honestly, as a creative, I get it. If you want to make a movie but don't have Hollywood-level budget to work with, the same constraints that David used to allow him to tell his story with a one-man scope lend themselves really well to doing the same with a movie, but without sacrificing vision. Now, as Mark tells the story, and I am abridging here from what he's shared in videos and interviews, so apologies if I got any piece of it wrong, Mark. I'll link a few in the description if you're also curious. He did precisely what any reasonable and successful creative did. He went ahead and made the movie. He funded, directed, wrote, and acted in it, and edited it too. As a fan of B-movies, and bad movies, and particularly bad B-movies, let me tell you, this is a recipe for disaster. The writer, director, lead star combo is more often than not deadly. Or glorious, depending on how you look at it. I vote glorious personally, though not usually for the intended reason. But not here. I've never seen someone direct themselves like this. It shouldn't have worked, but honestly it did. Is it a perfect movie? No, I'd say it's about half an hour too long, even as someone who loves an artsy, slow burn experience. I think it needed a good final editing pass as a whole from a skilled storyteller who was coming in and looking at it fresh. But the moment-to-moment editing is wonderful. A few scenes are a little messy here and there. Mark's performance, it starts a little rocky, but by the end, he finds his place as the convict, the pilot of the titular sub, sent to his death in service of greater good. And he absolutely inhabits the role. It does commit that cardinal sin of video game adaptation and comes across as maybe a little too abstract if you don't know the game premise going into it, though the fact that it's cosmic horror lessens that impact a bit, as the confusion and disorientation play well to the convict's deteriorating mental state as the movie plays out. But for every one awkward moment, there are a dozen beautiful, striking, upsetting, poignant scenes that drive home the claustrophobic horror of being trapped in a sub among an ocean of blood, one disposable human drone in a line of many. the dread of having pierced that veil and running out of time to make your choice. The visual design is fantastic, the cinematography is glorious and spellbinding, and the horror is chilling and genuinely disturbing. The finale in particular is fantastically skin-crawling and bloody without veering into schlock, gore, horror, slasher territory, which honestly I think is a fine line to walk, but one that I personally find very critical to good cosmic horror. It's a beautiful, loving tribute to the game it's based on, yes, but it also joins the pantheon of excellent original work in the halls of cosmic horror. It captures the true feeling, the themes, so incredibly well. With the veil broken, do you let go of hope to stand in defiance of madness? Do you become a willing cultist? Do you surrender to insanity, doomed to die without meaning? That's the choice the convict has to make. And ultimately, it's a choice we all make. Now, we gotta get some lights into this. However, we've got a problem. They're tiny here, but they're also essential. It's not gonna be an iron lung diorama without the iconic green compass depth meter. I don't have any LEDs that small, but maybe there's another way. If we were to model it carefully, we could possibly print a waveguide so one LED can light up many points. The principle of this is actually quite simple. Keep your angles shallow, use curves around bends rather than corners, and mount lights off-center from the emission point so nothing blows out and is brighter than the rest. When you're ready to put it together, you want to bond the LED to the guide with the same resin it's made with, and then glue the whole thing in place with, ideally, some sort of super glue, not resin. The different refractive index of the glue and the resin will help keep most of the light bouncing around inside the resin, for complicated physics reasons. And once you've done that, you can lightly sand the glowing faces, install it in place, and holy crap, I can't believe that actually worked. The eye is gonna have a slightly different trick to it. Our ocean is going to be red, so we won't see much of the diorama. To have it suitably creepy, I want the eye to glow so it pops out of the murk in the dark. And to do that, I'll sculpt the iris and cut it out from the lens from the reverse before printing the resulting clear. Now I can paint the backside, starting with the lightest bits first and working my way up to the darkest parts. Once I black out the pupil, we can drop it into the fleshy popcorn bucket fish block for a suitably creepy result. Okay, so Markiplier makes a movie, and damn good one too. It's a lot of work, but he has the money and he's got a plan. Great.
I just happened to use my cat for more money!
But as he tells it, he starts to come up against a system not really prepared to work with someone doing things the way he was. You know, small team, paying people well, careful planning, not part of a big Hollywood studio. I mean, in what world does it make sense that the most cost-effective approach to getting your movie VFX rendered is to build a render farm in your bathroom from used Mac Pros instead of paying a studio to do it for you? And yes, that's a real thing that happened. But that, friends, that's the first telltale sign of a system designed to extract rather than to create. A system designed to breed cultists that serve it. So, they finish the movie. Mark starts to reach out to studios and distribution companies to ask about distributing it. If I had to stab a guess, at that point he's thinking, hey, whole thing's done. I'm sure somebody will be happy to distribute it. I got a name, I have a built-in fan base, we don't have to do traditional marketing, that'll save a bunch of money, it'll be a slam dunk. Unfortunately, that only works in a world where the assumption that everyone is doing on average the best, most sensible thing to bring wonderful art to people holds true. Hell, that only works where everyone in big systems is on average reasonably competent at business is true. If only. But then the excuses start, the conditions, the platitudes. Essentially, a lot of reasons for why to be let into the system at all, you'll first need to pay a toll for the privilege of starting up the ladder. They'll take 90%, they'll need to have a discretion for how marketing is done, how big that budget is. Of course, they'll need to recoup all that before your 10% kicks in, if it ever does. In short, you have to become one of the cultists, empowering the system by normalizing it. And Mark, well, he pretty easily could have just gone along with it. He's probably in a financially secure enough place. He could have gone, sure, I get it, I'll play along. But he didn't. That's kind of wild to me. In the end, he did it himself, and it started small. he and his wife put up a website with a couple dozen small independent theaters that agreed to distribute for them. And then he asked people who were interested in seeing it to call their theaters and request it. And it started to spread. A few dozen more, then a few hundred, 1,000 theaters. The big theater chains came knocking. Eventually, it became a worldwide rollout and broke $40 million at the box office. Mark himself has said that most of the independent theaters they worked with got a 50-50 share of the ticket price, not the 10 or 15% that has become normal. He's also mentioned that everyone involved is getting substantial bonuses, which I'd imagine is largely possible because there aren't a dozen middlemen siphoning off every dollar up and down the pipeline. Because that is, at this point, most of what Hollywood is: entrenched systems, an Eldritch God extracting from its followers and cultists with insatiable hunger. Now, I don't work directly in Hollywood, so how do I know this? Well, you see, I do know another Eldritch God quite well. One that, if you ask any of the more in-the-know industry types, has spent most of its existence explicitly trying to be like Hollywood. This is easily the biggest resin pour I've ever done. We don't want to do a realistic blood pour. Blood is, after all, pretty much opaque. So we're going to need our artistic license. What we're aiming for is to see just a hint of the creature in the back, but through a rich red haze that obscures the strange bones scattered on the ground below, courtesy of some scans of a whalebone and a horse. It should invite you to peer into the depths, but in a way that's dark and unsettling otherwise. To accomplish this, we'll use red alcohol dye with just a touch of opaque white, and we'll mix up all the tinted A part of the resin that we'll need for the pour. This will keep the color consistent throughout, as we'll need to do the pour in layers. It's too deep to cure correctly in one shot. Yeah, so remember when I said the way I designed the container was gonna come back to bite me? Here it is. Disaster. The leak started. But I kept my cool. Oh, okay, no I didn't. I got resin all over my leggings and destroyed a pair. But I did save it. The leaks were slow, which meant that the resin was fully coating the leaking areas. If I could plug the leaks long enough for it to set, the resin would properly seal everything the rest of the way. But it was also starting to leak out around the USB port. So here's what I settled on. Tilt the resin away from the worst leaks to reduce pressure on them. Dump as much silicone caulk as possible over the leaking spots, and then, and this was actually the critical part, press cling wrap over the caulk. This is similar to how you fix something like a leaking inflatable pool. The cling wrap acts as a patch to disperse the force of the resin pressing against the silicone across a wide area, reducing the pressure against the silicone itself and preventing further leaks while it cures. As a last safety precaution, I did plug in a USB cable. If resin got into the outlet, I didn't want it permanently preventing the lights from working once it's set. And thank the Elder Gods, it worked. With the diagonal layer cured in place, I was free to pour more layers in and top it off. Though that cable is definitely never going anywhere. It's a big claim, I know. Just bear with me a minute. You see, this channel exists to help me focus, to give me structure where there wouldn't be any normally. Because without structure, I struggle to function. And I need to create. It's how I process things. It's what I'm good at. It's my passion. The problem is, though, that my entire ability to exist, to live, to provide for my family comes from my ability to create. And I have pretty much exclusively had to settle for roles in my career where I've been exploited to make ends meet. My decade plus in the games industry. Having this channel, though, it gives me some form of structure to create what I want without expectations, but with constraints on time, delivery, or scope that help me to deliver and finish things. So what's my big I stared into the maw and it almost drove me crazy moment? Well, I made a game called Reliquary. You probably haven't heard of it, and honestly, that's mostly intentional. I was the director of the game. I did a lot of the art and design for it. I invented so many tools to make it happen for a fraction of what it should have cost. And I didn't do it alone. I had amazing people with me. So why can't you play it? Well, the producer was also the funder and the executive director. And if you've ever been in even a remotely similar scenario, I can hear you groaning already. If you haven't, well, suffice to say it's the story of many, many games out there. The producer, funder, director combo is the game equivalent of the writer, director, star in movies. You take an independently wealthy funder with lots of ambition and zero real industry experience. Well, you get never-ending scope creep and an ever-shrinking list of resources to actually accomplish that scope with. Unfortunately, the producer bailed as we were coming up on the finish line. Honestly, it was for the best in the end. We had just put out the announcement trailer, and it had blown up. People were so excited for it. We couldn't believe it. But we didn't have what we needed to finish the game, at least not comfortably. So I had a choice to make. I could exploit our tiny team. They trusted me. I could tell them we had to make sacrifices. Crunch, missed paychecks, all the stuff this industry tells us is normal. Or I could delay the game. Use what resources we had left to try to move everyone out to stable jobs. Drop the marketing campaign to avoid getting people excited for and attached to something that might take years to come out, knowing we'd have no way to predict how long it was going to take. Looking back, it's wild how clear the invite to become a cultist was, to normalize the system and feed it. So I delayed the game. No crunch, no exploitation. It's a line I refuse to cross for anyone who's ever counting on me. For 3 years, I've worked to find a publisher by myself. And for 3 years, I've heard the same message. We love everything about it, but it doesn't fit. Insert analyst-provided buzzword that everyone repeats and which changes every 10 to 12 months. At first, it was shocking. The game was basically done. We had a way above average proof of interest and demand for it. The budget had been a fraction of games like it. It would take almost nothing in sales to turn a profit. Surely that's a no-brainer just from a business standpoint, even if you don't care about it personally. And then it started to become frustrating. And by now, it's honestly getting a little funny, because so much of the games industry wants to be Hollywood so bad. Except if Hollywood is a barely functional system designed for extraction, what does that make the games industry as a shallow copy? I want to say more, but I can't. Maybe someday. Unfortunately, I don't have the resources to just do it myself, so I'm still stuck working with the system. But it will happen someday, and when it does, I'll share it all. The story, the struggles, and most importantly, all the tools and resources we created to make it happen. To make the ladder that little bit shorter for the people who come after us. This industry is truly broken, and I've gotten far too thorough of a tour of its nature for my liking. I hope it's not all like this. I really do. But seeing something like Iron Lung come to be, seeing the work Mark put into it, not just to make it happen, but to bring together an incredible team of creatives to help put it all together, yeah, that story's pretty inspiring. Honestly, in some ways, it's more inspiring to see someone who's made it turn around and make the choice to stand against the system and call it out. It's not often you see someone who can be in the system look at it and go, now, what the fuck? We're not doing that. All right, so we saved the build. We got it all cleaned up. We dropped in some final details. But now it needs to be a book. So I headed over to the thrift store and grabbed a couple of weathered tomes. I think I can safely say that Miss Kafka would never have imagined a copy of her masterpiece would get a second life in this way. But the pages have a nice worn quality, and the cover has a faux leather texture that's just perfect. So we'll chop it up, cut out the shape of the box to slide the pages over it, and bind them together with glue. I have never wished I had a bandsaw more. Do not try this at home. Once it's all done, we can make a full-size spine in Blender, along with some lovely logo letters. Paint it all up and drop some enamel washes over the whole thing to weather it. And now, as I get the final details together, we can wrap this all up. So, why the title? Why is cosmic horror so important? Well, it comes down to the thing that contributes to whether you become the doomed or the defiant. You know, if you choose not to be a cultist. And it's not hope exactly. It's more like resilience, awareness. This is what cosmic horror can do, what the power of these kinds of stories is. The risk of insanity, it only comes when facing horrors beyond our comprehension. It's in every one of the original stories, whether Lovecraft meant it to be or not. But in the decades since, cosmic horror has become so much more, outgrown its creator. It examines the effect of being pushed beyond our comforts of perception, the dissonance that triggers, the distress that causes. That's what makes people, seemingly good, kind people, bury their heads in the sand, turn a blind eye to suffering. We want to think the world is a certain way. We depend on it being that way. And when we realize it's not, it hurts. Most people just want the hurt to stop, and they'll do anything to convince themselves there's no reason for it to hurt. But if you can accept that the horrors are there, that there are no limits to their breadth or their depth, okay, well, yeah, that hurts too. But that's the thing about pain tolerance. It's not that you stop feeling the pain. It's that you learn it won't kill you. Because it's not the pain that will ultimately drive you insane. It's the fear of it. So if you can dose yourself on the idea that maybe there's not such a thing as unimaginable horror, build up a tolerance for the stress it causes, well, maybe it makes it just that little bit easier to stare those things in the eye when you meet them in real life. If you can do that, even just a little, then you can stand against what you've seen. And maybe that's why cosmic horror tends to resonate among people like me, outsiders, outliers, artists, creatives. In my case, stuck on the fringe of a system designed to exploit our gifts. No real way in, but unwilling to give up just because we don't fit. Maybe getting in the system was never actually the answer. We're used to being extracted from, exploited, minimized, having to struggle and strain to justify our continued existence. Having a medium, a form of stories that says, yeah, that's real, well, it helps to practice looking at that horror through a lens of abstraction, to soften the hurt just a little bit. It helps, and that matters. When a story like that is told by someone who is actively saying, I see that system, it's real, and it's stupid, and I'm not doing that, it matters all the more. And as we wrap this all up, finish our convict figure with a last bit of glue and a final touch-up. It's ready. Horror as Catharsis, Iron Lung as a very independent film. Really, if you haven't seen it and you like longer, more tense takes on cosmic horror, it's absolutely worth a watch. It was genuinely emotional seeing it in the theater, to see the result of a concerted effort to work outside an entrenched system come into being in that way. And Mark, this is yours if you want it. To commemorate what you accomplished, from one storyteller to another. No expectations, just a very genuine token of my thanks. Do I expect you'll ever see this? Hell no. I mean, the algorithms are their own kind of weird eldritch horror. But if you do, and you want a 10-pound hunk of horror and a block of resin in a book for your shelf, well, just let me know. I'll find a way to get it to you. Who knows? The internet is weird sometimes. And everyone else, perhaps this is your reminder that the systems we're told to accept as inevitable aren't quite so inevitable after all. For now, if you would like your own little Iron Lung diorama, I'd love to make a purely printable version to share that's a little easier for you to replicate. I was gonna say, if we get 100 likes on this video or get to 100 subscribers, that's bullshit. That's feeding the monster, and I'm not gonna do that. So I'll put in the time if I know even one person would enjoy it. That's all that really matters. If you want one, leave a comment, and I'll put a variant together that's easier for you to make and post it in another video soon. Thank you so much for watching and taking time out of your day to join me on this little excursion. I see each and every one of you, and I really appreciate you all. It might be dark and cold out there, but here, we're gonna make our own little island of art, a beacon of light and creativity to stand defined. Until next time, be kind to yourself. Make time for your passions, and I'll see you next time, here on Witch Cove Crafts.